All right, I'm Josh Welton. We're here at the SEMA Show 2021, and I'm here with Robby Woods. And his booth drew me in because the fabrication on these vehicles is insane, so I had to talk to him. So, Robbie, introduce yourself, how you got into welding, fabrication, the truck world, everything. Let us hear what you're up to.
Yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. You know, I'm a third generation racer. My dad was a dirt track racer. Started at the Saturday Night Lights level, just racing stock cars and dirt cars, and he was also very ambitious and fearless like myself, and had ambitions to go race NASCAR, and eventually, you know, built his own car in a garage in the backyard of our house. Dude, I get emotional talking about that.
I understand, man.
My dad, my dad built his own race cars, and then eventually got to the ARCA and the Winston Cup level, like back in the 90s, where a guy could build his own race car and go race it before it was super corporate.
Right.
And then he owned a towing business. So we had a plethora of junk cars. So long ran short, I grew up in a junkyard, and my dad was a racer. So my background is motocross. I really had no interest in cars or anything four wheels. Raced dirt bikes my whole life, and then had some career-ending injuries, and really had to like pivot, do something else. And really, all I knew how to do was race. And
you got to get that adrenaline from somewhere.
That's right, man. So I saw a trophy truck race, and I was like, that's it. Like those are like dirt bikes that you can sit in, right? So got a Ford Ranger out of the junkyard, and just went full ham, old school. Got a 400-inch motor out of like an old Cutlass. Had a turbo 400 transmission.
Oh man!
And cut the frame all up and built the roll cage and the chassis, and I just built like a bro runner at like 16 years old, and that's kind of where it started. So I started doing that, and then that turned into a little bit of a business. Kids around town were like, dude, I want a bumper, let me get some long travel. And I started building trucks for people for fun. That kind of carried my fabrication to get better and better and better. And then got hooked up with like a local CNC machinist, and he taught me about CAD.
That's what I was just going to ask. Like obviously you're doing the designing, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we had a retired aerospace machinist retire in my hometown, and I started poking in there just to like learn shit. And
those guys are the best.
He introduced me to CAD and drafting and design and all that. So I kind of took that aerospace side and then applied it to my hands-on fabrication. And then started building race trucks, and that parlayed into my racing career. I had a pretty good, like a 10-year run at professional off-road racing, and that's really what started this. I built my first truck in the Unlimited Pro 2 class. It's like the top of the top, and went there and just got my ass kicked by the best guys in the world. And every weekend it was like something new. The first month we came home, my truck wouldn't steer, so I started reading Carol Smith's books, Race Car Dynamics, and How to Win. And so I cut the front end off my truck, built a new front end with more Ackerman, and I really learned how a front end worked like the hard way. Then we got my truck where it would steer and it would turn and it would do everything properly. And then I was getting pulled out of the corners. Everybody was accelerating a lot faster than me. So I started reading like drag racing books about anti-squat and spring rates and traction. So I learned about the four-link, cut the back off, redid the back. So really I cut my teeth building and racing off-road
trucks. You're assimilating all this knowledge from all these different areas of racing and putting them into what you're doing.
Circle track racing, you have to turn really good. So I implemented those books and that kind of shit into my front end.
Gotcha.
And then drag racing, you're obviously trying to get up to speed as fast as possible. So I started reading about drag racing, but I'm like an old school blue collar, like hands-on, learn it the hard way dude. And then I've just built momentum racing. I've kind of carved out a reputation of being like the junkyard dog, self-funded, blue collar, beating the elite, wealthiest, baddest dudes in the world. Like I've lined up and beat Bryce Menzies, Rob McCackran, BJ Baldwin, Johnny Greaves, and in shit that I built. And so now,
what's that feeling like when you get done with the race and you beat them and you're like,
oh dude, I just cry a lot. I feel like a big baby, dude. It just feels super.
Nothing wrong with that,
feels super. It feels purposeful. You know what I mean? It feels, you put so much effort into it, and then when you succeed at it, it's like it's life changing.
And there's the legacy that you're carrying on from your father on down, and it's clear that you got that passion, that drive from what he was doing.
Yeah. So my grandpa raced midgets. And then my dad raced stock cars, and I'm the first one that like made it. Right. So I'm a third generation.
Standing on the shoulders of the giants before you.
Yeah, so I'm a third generation professional racer, but the first one that's been able to turn it into a career and a paying
That's awesome.
job.
That's incredible.
So now what we do moving towards the fabrication and the truck stuff, is I'm trying to build like, you know, Carroll Shelby back in the day, before current time. He was like the guy that like designed it, built it, raced it. Like Shelby was unanimous with racing, and so I want to be that to off-road. And so what we're doing is taking all of that technology and all of that learning and then bringing it into the marketplace for consumers. So like this is our new Ram TRX kit. We also make the Ford Raptor kits, and I just implement all of my knowledge into our suspension system. So we have like, this has the 5-link, mid-travel front end, king shocks, but everything that I've learned about Ackerman and spring rate and coupled roll centers and roll axis and all that racing experience is what goes into our production suspension. And so, you know, we're trying to sell enough suspension to fund our racing.
And so, like, this is the hardcore, like, 6-figure, like, you're going to go nuts with it. But you take that knowledge and you also trickle it down to the guys who are going running dunes on their weekends and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. So this is at the higher upper echelon of the work that we do, but we have...
even the carbon fiber, like you did the body.
I do. I shape the body work, yeah. And so what we found was that I couldn't design the kind of suspension I wanted within the constraints of the body work that was available. If I wanted 2 inches more up travel, the fenders that were available would collide with the tire, you know, or if I wanted to run the 40-inch tire without hitting the firewall, I would move the front suspension forward 2 inches, which other people don't do, but then the tire wasn't centered in the bodywork. So from now on, like the last 5 platforms we've built, I just built the suspension the way I want it, and then we built the body around it afterwards.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's no constraints.
Right on. Yeah, this thing's a beast. I've had a little bit of time in a stock TRX, so I can't imagine what this thing does.
Yeah, we don't know yet. It's a prototype, dude. We finished it at 7 a.m. on Monday morning.
Typical SEMA.
Yeah, it doesn't have a drive shaft, no brake lines. You know, it's aesthetically, what I've been telling people are like, oh, typical SEMA build. No, everything you see is sound. Everything's tight, torqued, proper. Everything that you see is done. But it's not all done.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so.
What's your goal for getting this for racing it?
I don't know that we'll actually race this truck. The only way we're going to race...
Kind of a test bed?
No, I mean, this is, oddly enough, we have a customer base of people that are using this as their daily driver. So
excellent.
It's a mid-travel off-road truck. It's like a Ferrari, but off-road.
Yeah, excellent.
You buy it, it's fast, it's got big brakes, wheel travel. You can put 20,000 miles on it and then take it off-road and drive it from here to Mexico.
The drivability is on the street is there.
Yeah, it's actually better than a stock one on the street. We have the tunable sway bars, stiffer spring rates, wider track width. They handle like sports cars when they're said and done. So
excellent.
If, being candid, we started this program with Ram with the goal that we will win their factory support and race these trucks for Ram.
Right on.
Whether that happens or not.
Well, I hope it happens. I have a lot of friends there, and they're good people, and they're passionate about what they do, and it's clear that you're passionate about what you do as well. So I'm pulling for that to happen, for that to work.
Yeah, we proposed that we would build this truck for them for SEMA.
Okay.
Given that went well, we would campaign this truck next year in the Class 8, the heavy metal class, and then if we could get them a Baja 1000 win in a production-based truck, we would propose that they would fund our trophy truck racing team year 3.
Right
so
on,
we've got a 3-year plan. Whether they see our vision or not still is to be determined.
You got to put it out there, though.
Yeah,
you got to. You're
try.
making the effort. You got to do that, or nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like I was overhearing some of your pitch earlier, and it was spot on.
I mean, I get it. Like before, when I was younger and I had these kind of opportunities, I was very like, how can I get these people to give me money to race?
Yeah.
And not really thinking about what their objective is.
What are you going to do for them?
Yeah, and like being candid, they don't give a fuck if I win the Baja 1000 in a trophy truck.
Right.
They don't sell trophy trucks.
Right.
But if I can take this down there and win my class in this truck, and they can advertise, Robby Woods tackled the Baja 1000 in a stock TRX. That might have enough value that they would fund my racing.
That's one of the things I try to get across to, like, on Instagram, everyone that wants to get sponsored by everybody, and it's like, you can't just go like, oh, I want that free stuff, what can I do? It's like, you have to sell them, what can you do for them? It's got to be a two-way street.
Yeah, you got to do something for them that they don't already have.
Yes, exactly.
And in this case, we've elevated their brand profile a lot of steps overnight, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've been known as being a Ford Raptor guy. That's my primary business, is making suspension for the Ford Raptor.
And there's no competition to the Raptor until the TRX. I mean, like from
yeah,
the
yeah,
factory.
yeah. But they saw an opportunity that if they got me in a TRX, it would take market share from Ford. And so that's the goal. Now, people that are coming to me going, my customers just coming, hey man, I want you to build me a truck. What should I get? Well, you got to get a Ford Raptor. It's the best one out there. Now there's a better platform, more horsepower, more torque, more wheel travel, more everything.
Yeah.
And now we've built one. Those people are coming to me now, and I'm selling them Rams instead of Fords.
Yeah,
so hopefully it goes the full distance.
Oh yeah, man. I'm pulling for that. That's awesome. Now, I want you to show us the $1 million diesel.
Let's do it, man. Let's show you
check that out. So, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. So this is like this is a bad idea gone worse. You know,
those are the best ideas.
Yeah. So interesting story. I feel like everything comes with a story if you're asking me.
I love it.
My pedigree of racing is called short course off-road. It's like motocross for trucks. It's on a closed course. I don't have a big track record in the endurance racing. Yeah, I have in the motorcycle. I've got some wins, best in the desert, got some titles, winning on a dirt bike in the desert.
Okay.
But I'm not known as a desert racer in trucks.
Okay.
That's the next chapter. We will be doing that.
Was that kind of the genesis for this?
Yeah, it's way more expensive than short course, so I had to build something that would allow me to do that.
Yeah.
I race short course because it was more affordable, and it also has a higher marketing value because you can see the whole race.
Yep.
So my business partner, Alan, he's a trophy truck racer currently. I'm a short course racer. We're kind of blended together in this thing. But long ran short, 21 years old. Got a call from a friend of mine, a guy named BJ Baldwin, two-time Baja 1000 Ironman champion, one of the most decorated off-road racers of all time. Badass dude.
Great viral videos going pooning in the streets.
Yeah, he's a bad dude all the way across the board. He invited me out to go testing in his trophy truck. I'm 21, never rode in one, kid in the candy store, dude, let's go. BJ wants to take me for a ride.
Hell yeah.
And I went out, and once the trucks are up to speed, they're like a land missile. I mean, 130 miles an hour.
Just flat.
They're just flat. They just fly. But they're slow getting there. They weigh 7,000 pounds. They have about 800 horsepower. They don't accelerate like a 10-second CUDA.
Right.
You're not like, oh man, this thing's fast.
Right,
you know, you're like, all right,
let's get here. Let's get here.
So Friday, I went testing with BJ, and the overarching thing in my mind was like, man, this thing. I was racing short course at the time. My little truck weighs 3,700 pounds. Has almost 1,000 horsepower.
It's a rocket ship.
It's a rocket. I had been racing for about 4 years in my little rocket ship truck, and I was like, fuck.
You still have that?
I have a new one, but yeah, I still have short course trucks. But I went for a ride with BJ, and I was like, man, it's just not that fast. And then the following day, it was just happenstance. I have a buddy named Cord Reynolds, and he was working at Edge Products, the diesel company back then. This is in like 2012 or 13. And Cord came by and took me for a ride in his street truck that he had just finished. And it was a compound turbocharged Cummins drag truck. And I mean, I'm talking stock cab, stock frame rails, no suspension, just a basic truck with two big turbos and some injectors. And dude, it was fast. It was so fast. It just pulled like you would not believe. And that day, I was like, I got to put that motor in that truck. Right. You know, and that's where the $1 million diesel thing came from. I was like, I'm going to build a diesel trophy truck because it was so fast. And so,
now, why don't? Is it a weight issue? Is that why people haven't done it before?
It's complex, and I don't know that it's better yet. That leads to everybody asks, well, are you going to race this thing? The reason I chose to build a steel-cabbed pre-runner is, check it out. It's going to go fast. It's going to do everything great, but it has a lot of challenges from the complexity, how hard it is to work on. Right. It's got 3 fuel pumps, 2 turbos, 2 radiators. I mean, it's got shit going on everywhere. If it isn't reliable or better, I can still dumb it down and enjoy this vehicle recreationally.
Yes.
If I go all out and build a race truck first as a development vehicle and it doesn't work, it's just a useless race truck. So the plan started as build the pre-runner first, proof out the concept, make it work, and then whatever you don't like about it, you can implement those changes into the one that's for the competitive environment.
And this one you can have fun with.
Yeah, I'm not competing. I'm in a league of my own with this thing. If it works great, awesome. If it doesn't, I'll drive it to Starbucks every day and look badass. So
yeah, I don't know if it would fit through a McDonald's drive-through, but Starbucks maybe.
Yeah, it'll fit.
Well, what is it, like 8 inches wider?
The cab is 8 inches wider, and then we've added, about 12 to the track width from a stock one. So really the reason the cab is wider, if you look at these real trophy truck pre-runners, most people build a trophy truck and then they just set the stock cab over it, cut the firewall, cut the floorboards, they set it over that. But the wheels, the track width at 94 to 96 inches, which is pretty standard, they have so much flair, man. The fenders look like a remote control car.
Right, yeah.
Like, I'm a truck.
Yeah.
You know, and they just look goofy. And so I wanted to keep the proportion real smooth.
Yeah.
So it is a 96-inch track width, but with the cab being widening, there's only about 4 inches of flair in the fenders.
Okay.
It looks like a stock Raptor or a stock TRX.
Beefy, but not like crazy.
It doesn't have fenders that are like, oh, I got fenders.
Right.
When people see it from 100 feet, they don't know that it's not just a normal truck.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's full tube chassis, midship, all-wheel drive, 1,750 horsepower, Duramax compound charge diesel, Allison transmission, full containment seats. It holds 100 gallons of fuel. It holds 32 gallons of water methanol on the long, hard, hot runs when those EGTs start to climb. That water methanol injects, cools off the charges. It'll run around normal, on the throttle, off the throttle. It does that all perfect, but with that much horsepower, it has the ability to eat itself alive. If you floor it and hold it wide open for 6 miles,
just fry.
It just gets hot. So we got the water methanol, and then it has all the amenities of a normal truck. Windows go up and down.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't see that usually. You don't see this interior and then look and be like, oh, it's got a regular door panel.
Yeah, it's got an iPad Pro in the dash
Nice.
there in the center console that controls the AC, the stereo, all the amenities. I'm gonna climb in here.
I mean, clearly it's a 4-seater, so you're planning on having some fun with friends in it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people comment on how small the back is, and what I tell people is that you don't put 4 people in a death trap and then see how fast you can go.
Right.
Ideally, if you're driving it for what it's meant to do, you're in it by yourself. And if you're gonna have a little bit of fun and really rile up your buddies, you put a passenger in it. But if you put 4 people in this thing and drive it to its full potential, you're an idiot. You got 4 times the opportunity to kill
somebody.
Yeah, so the back seats are for you and your wife to throw the kids in the back.
Exactly.
And then take it to the mall that day, or you guys want to go check out a hot spring and you're going to go on a little desert run.
Yeah.
It is pretty tight in the back seat, but it's a second tier amenity. It's
Put the puppies back there and
or
go to the park.
You and your chick and you got your kids, or the back seats are kind of an accessory. You know what I mean? It's not primarily. I didn't set out like, how can I make the most comfortable truck and go 200 miles an hour? Like, we're trying to go 200. That's just a benefit.
You're trying to go 200 in this?
I think it's going to break 200.
Hell yeah.
The trophy trucks go 160 right now, which is pretty standard. We have approximately 3 times the horsepower. It makes 2,200 foot-pounds of torque, and then the other thing that we have that the other ones don't, it has 2 overdrive gears. So we're 1-to-1 in 4th gear. We have a 6/10 reduction in high gear. So we got a 514, which is standard trophy truck gearing. They all got about a 514, 533. They're in the 5s. But in high gear, we got a 303. I mean, we're talking Bonneville numbers.
Yeah.
But we've got 1,700 horsepower, 1,750 actually, 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, and a 303 final drive. It'll go 230 on paper, and so I'm saying with like about 30 or 40% slip, it'll go 180 to 200.
Where would you go to try that out?
I mean, I live out in Pahrump, Nevada, just like out in the middle of the desert, like in the middle of nowhere. So,
cool, perfect.
There's a long stretch between Vegas and Pahrump where have you heard of the Tutara, that SSC Tutara? It's the fastest car in the world right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just beat the Bugatti and the Koenigsegg. The stretch of highway they did that on is between here and my hometown. So I'm gonna go out there.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Like, they got the land speed record there in the car. It'd be like the fastest truck in the world. Same stretch of land. So we'll do that stretch of land between Vegas and Pahrump first.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that.
And then after, the big setback we have right now is tires. The tires are only rated for 140.
Yep.
And it would be detrimental if they came apart at 200.
Yeah,
so,
that wouldn't be good.
We haven't found a partner to make us tires yet. But
I was just going to say that's a tricky one. I know when they were talking about, I can't remember who it was, but they wanted to build like a 300. It was Hennessy, I think. Wanted to build like you can build the car, but nobody makes tires for that. Like,
Yeah.
the force that it inputs on the rubber at that speed.
At that speed, yeah. And this thing weighs almost 8,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So
That's a tricky one.
It'll do 140 with its eyes closed.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
What I mean? But we'll be in uncharted territory.
But it is cool. We live in a day and age where material technology is advancing so quickly.
Yeah.
As far as even anything from metal to rubber, like things are progressing to the point where
it's out there. I mean, Mickey Thompson has a reputation of building Bonneville tires, prototypes for people at Bonneville.
Yeah.
The world's fastest semi, like a big diesel truck. It went over 200 at Bonneville, and it was on airplane 737 tires.
Really?
Yep.
That's cool.
Boeing 737 tires.
So the tech is out there. We just got to convert it to do what you want.
Yeah, the big disadvantage in this, like a 737 tire, they're 41 inches, so we're on 42s, those are 41s, but ours are only 1250 wide, and they're like a 1650, so it's like a big balloon heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll do with a 300-pound tire on it.
Right.
We could put the airplane tires on it and see how fast it would go. I mean, that would work, but we're hopeful that we can get like BFG. We really want BFG to build us a tire.
Okay, yeah.
But whoever's going to invest in it has to see the value of being like, we're the first. What I want is an off-road tire that can go 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I don't want to put an airplane tire on it and go, yeah, it goes fucking
That's
200.
and you got to think that's a win-win. That's a huge marketing bonus for
we just got to get the
that.
right company to see
the right
that
people
would turn
within the
into
right
sales.
company. Yeah.
They're going, oh well, shit. If we can say that our tires go over 200 miles an hour with Robby Woods, then that, but we haven't found that partner yet, and we also haven't ran the vehicle very much. So.
And you're a small shop. Like you got 4 guys working in it, right?
Yeah, 5 counting. My brother is the marketing guy.
Okay, I mean that's incredible the work you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, the first thing that caught my eye is I was walking around and started looking at the welds.
Yep.
Usually you'll see nice welds and you'll go over here and it's like, oh well, somebody else. These are all just the workmanship, the craftsmanship is just incredible.
Yeah, only 2 people have welded in this vehicle, literally. I built 80% of it myself. I actually built 100% of it myself, and this is version 2.0.
I don't even want to ask you the hours.
I don't know.
I would imagine you would.
I've been
years.
6 years, 1 marriage and divorce, directly related to the headache that comes with doing something like this. So no, I don't really even know. I have no idea. It's taken all the money, all the time. It's taken all my efforts for 6 years.
Yeah, I get it, man.
I just being candid for the audience. How does that do? I borrowed the original installment. I borrowed $400,000 to build it.
Okay.
And then I got it done on that money, and then a lot of it didn't work. And my investor, he's just my uncle, my friend. He's not really my uncle. He's not my blood. He's just like one of my best friends.
You got to have people like that behind you.
Yeah, but long ran short, we got it done with the money that we had allotted for it. And then I was arrogant to think it would work perfectly the first time.
Right.
There was no room for error.
Yeah.
And he said, look, either sell it or figure out how to pay me back. And so I put my head down and started this business and started paying him back a little bit at a time. So
how long ago did you start the business?
6 years.
Okay.
This was the launch.
Okay.
This vehicle. Yeah. So basically, I borrowed the money, I built it and had it running and driving in 2 years, and then it took me 3 years to pay him back while it sat there on jack stands, and then I finished it version 2.0 in the last year.
That's incredible,
so
man.
It's been a 6-year build.
Yeah.
But it was 2 years. 3 years on jack stands, me paying down the debt, and then once the debt was paid off, I could go to work on finishing it.
Right.
So now it's done, it's paid for, it's
The
mine.
first 2 times that Henry Ford tried to start a motor company, he bankrupted them because he would get the investors to invest in this mass car for the people, and then he spent all their money building his race car.
Oh,
so
really?
the 3rd time was the charm, and he actually went to the Dodge brothers, and they basically built the car for him under his name. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But it's like, I totally get, it's a tale as old as time. Let's build this race car. Okay, how are we going to pay for this?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I just got in too deep and had the choice to either lose it or figure it out.
And you figured it out.
Came down to. My uncle was super cool about it, but he's like, look, dude,
yeah.
the truck isn't done, and you owe me $400,000. So either you put it on the internet and sell it the way it is, which would have been devastating to my reputation, because a lot of people were so like, oh, that thing will never work, it'll never get done.
for sure.
And I knew that if it popped up on Race Desert for sale
You would
for
get
$200,000, dude, I would never recover from that.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, dude, we're putting it on jack stands, I'll pay you back. So I shelved it. People were like, dude, it's taken 6 years. I'm like, dude, I had to make the money to buy it back. Like, I didn't. It didn't take 6 years to build. It took 6 years to pay for it.
It's worth, like, I can't, like I said before we started talking, I can't express how impressed I am with the craftsmanship on this. Like, it is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of passion. There was a lot of excitement when I started the project, and that's where I guess the first level of workmanship came from. And then, you know, there was a lot of ego and self-doubt. There was a lot of drive. When my wife left me and I was being threatened with a sale, like I almost lost everything.
Yeah.
Like, she left, I was being forced to sell it, you know, move out of your house, sell all your furniture, start over at life, and then your investor's like, hey, pay me back. Like, so what you see is the passion of, like, I got angry and I was like, fuck that, I'm finishing this.
I love it, man.
Fuck everyone, I'm gonna get this done. And this is all my anger wrapped up into it.
I wish I could take anger that I have and put it into craftsmanship, but it's like the opposite for me. I get angry and then I just start throwing tools and losing stuff.
Everybody has a different emotional home.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep.
So,
man, you knocked it out of the park, and I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through this thing.
Yeah, man, I like talking about it. I'm super proud of it.
I love passionate people, and it's clear that you're passionate about what you do, in both in the fabrication and in the racing. And, I really respect that for sure.
Thank you, man. If I could, I mean, not that people are really looking to me for this advice, but what I could say is that, you know, with the stuff I've referenced in this vehicle, the debt, my wife leaving, all those things, you know, 4 years later, I have like a dream life.
Yeah.
I got the truck done. I have a beautiful new girlfriend that is wild about my passion and my creativity. She doesn't care if I go broke building vehicles. She was here all month, like, building this booth. Like, this booth, this is not me. My girl did this. Like, I've never done a SEMA show before, never done a booth, never been an exhibitor. Like, my brother and my girlfriend got together, sourced the contractor, came up with these print boards, got the sign built.
Yeah, man,
like,
it looks excellent.
I stayed the course to what was true to me, and, like, you know, 4 years later,
payoff.
It's all.
That's what I have with her. Is she's got my back with whatever I do, and you need that. You need that emotionally. You need that in every way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I got a long ways with a lot of self-doubt and a lot of people pulling against me. But I wrote this thing that I haven't posted yet on my Instagram, but it's amazing what you can do when no one around you is quitting. And that's like, you know, the first wave of my business I had, and I don't know that I was a worthy leader or husband or any of those things. Like, I was probably worthy of quitting on.
It's a journey. Yeah. It's a journey. And I know so many people who had those things happen and they didn't learn and they didn't grow. Yeah. So that's the battle right there is learning and growing and becoming you know, your best person. Yeah, but I got a team of 5 people. Yeah. None of them, I mean, we just went through 7 days of hell. I mean, Ram gave us that truck 2 months ago. We built that whole platform in 2 months. Wow. Fenders, bumpers, bodywork, suspension, all of it, 2 months flat. But through 2 months of hell and all this preparation, no one ever tried to quit on me. My business partner, my girlfriend, my team, my guys, like, there wasn't an ounce of quit in anyone, and, like, it's pretty humbling. I could stand back and look at it, I'm like, this is what life is like when you're surrounded by people that aren't quitting. Yeah, I love it, man. So, that's inspirational. Yeah, man, we're just staying true to it and just keep going. Heck yeah, man. So I appreciate your time, dude. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for walking us through this. Sometime I'm gonna have to come get a ride. Yeah, you come out anytime. Right on, dude. You got all the space in the world. I want to check out the junkyard too. Yeah, you got it, dude. All right, man.